Hello there.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Jedi Knights. I'm your moderator, Christian Buckley, hologramming, force timing with
Force timing.
my Chewy Mike Connors.
Yeah, it's like we have like we're a dyad in the Force.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
We have a special bond.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well, man. How are you? How's your quarantine?
Pretty good, same as always. Existing.
I know. Have you felt like you've gotten into this like weird stasis period where it's not really like bothering you anymore? It's almost become like its own new normal in a way.
Yeah.
Like, which is good, but
yeah, to an
bad.
extent.
Yeah.
I'm breaking. So this is something I normally do. This is an insight for video viewers of the show, and for you. I typically never rock merch for the series I'm doing a show about. Like we did Excelsior, right? I never wore a Marvel shirt.
Okay. Yeah.
Today, I broke out the Rebel Star Wars hoodie because I just felt like it.
Hey man, I mean I appreciate it. Sometimes I wear the Empire Strikes Back t-shirt.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I also have the Rebel insignia on the back of my car.
You do. It's a good sticker.
Yeah. So, I understand it, and more power to you, in my opinion.
Yeah, it feels good. It's very comfy. But
yeah. What color is it?
It's gray with some red stripes on it. Got some like Red 5 action, like the Rebel crest is like sewn on. It's like almost like a patch, and then on the arm it says Rebel or Rebellion or something.
Nice.
But
nice, dude.
So that's the point of quarantine that I'm at. But you are investing time into KOTOR. You talked about that last week. How's that going?
Pretty good, honestly. I've been making some serious progress on it. So here's the deal. Like, I'm playing through a light side playthrough right now.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I feel like dark side playthroughs are more fun because you get to do all the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, like the light side, like doing light side quests is harder because they just take longer and they're like less easier shortcuts.
Yeah, you can't kill everything.
Right. So you have to like go on all these like weird like fetch quests and stuff. But it's a good time. It's a great game.
You've played it before, so do you know if you can play it as like a gray Jedi? Were they thinking about that back then?
So, yeah, the only time I ever played it, I also did a light side ending, just because I think that I know that that's the canon way to play, or it's no longer canon, but like
it's
when it was canon,
yeah,
when it was canon, like the light side ending was the ending. But I think like so basically you become like light side or dark side, but it's like on a spectrum, and like you can land in the middle. Though I imagine by the end of the game it'd be pretty hard to keep that. I don't know definitively if whether you can end the game gray or neutral. It's BioWare, so probably.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure there's an ending for it, but I don't know.
Well, interesting. I'm curious to hear how the rest of the playthrough goes. I know we're kicking around ideas of it, like a KOTOR episode with a special guest.
I'm sure that will happen.
Yeah, so I look forward to that.
Yeah.
But today we're finally caught up on Clone Wars, which we're going to get to later in the show.
How long did it take now? Like,
ooh, that's a good question.
Like 10 weeks?
So I think at this point, more of our episodes have been dedicated to Clone Wars than the Star Wars films.
Is that true?
I think, because we're at 28 now. There's only 11 movies?
Yeah, but you got to think that there were some episodes that we didn't necessarily cover anything, right?
Well, we did the Mandalorian episode separate for a while.
Right.
That's why we're so high up. Yep, that's it.
Well, I feel like we've been watching it for a while, and it seems right that we're getting to this point now.
For sure. I'm glad we caught up this week specifically.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it for sure. We do have some news to discuss first off. I wanted to just shout out, because I know we're both fans, Hayden Christensen. It was his birthday yesterday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Hayden Christensen. He's 39 now, right?
Yeah, we are a pro Hayden Christensen Anakin Skywalker podcast. He was trending like massively on Twitter the other day. It's funny because he doesn't even have Twitter. If you
does he have any? Does he have any social media? I don't think he does.
No, I think he just has like a farm and a kid now. I don't think he has social media.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, got that Star Wars check.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he continues to get the Star Wars checks. But like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, Hayden Christensen's not the only example of this. We also see it in Ahmed Best. That like, you know, the prequels dropped and there was so much like visceral like hate toward these actors for like no reason, just because they were like given crappy dialogue, and that's really out of their control. But and now we've just seen a complete 180 to the fact that like to the point where Hayden Christensen's trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. And Ahmed Best is like one of the most celebrated actors of the prequels now for whatever reason. I just find that cool. That you know, the hive mind has shifted on these people.
Yeah, and it rhymes with what's going on now. You know, I saw a story. I feel like we've had the discussion about it before, but there was a story about how Daisy Ridley was like dealing with a lot of the negativity about Episode 9, and basically her stance was saying that, you know, we made a movie that was on set like so full of love and like everybody was enjoying it so much, and then you see online everybody can have an opinion. It's just having a negative mindset about something that we made with love in mind. It was like hard for her to take in, which I totally get. And regardless of how anyone feels about the sequel trilogy, I feel like Star Wars fans are in the same sort of boat they were with Hayden and Ahmed Best like 20 years ago right now.
Yeah, it's like kind of a shame, honestly, because like Daisy Ridley gets like all this hate now, which, you know, I haven't seen much of it, thank God, because like it's just so toxic. But like I know that she does receive a lot of, you know, hate on the internet, but it's gonna be one of those things that like, I don't know, 15 years from now we're gonna like, it's gonna be her birthday and people are gonna like celebrate Daisy Ridley as like this, you know, wonderful character. And it's just a shame that like we can't get to that point now. Like,
what the heck? It sucks that it's like nobody's learning from anything, and honestly, not even that. They're just like not being decent people about it. You know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You don't need to
exactly.
do that.
Yeah, there are some really really crappy people, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to get you know down here, but
And we were talking about it a bit before the show, I guess, just in terms of Hayden. Oh, did you see the Mark Hamill tweet? You know how he like shouts out people sometimes, like for no reason, shout out to.
No, I know he does that, but I haven't seen anything recently.
I'll pull up the tweet. He did one for Hayden.
Yesterday?
Yeah, and it's funny because like I don't think they ever met in person until Celebration last year.
Really?
As far as I know, yeah.
Wow.
I remember that was a big deal.
I can't believe it took Luke's dad that long to come back to him. From going out to the convenience store to get some cigarettes. It took him so long.
He says, shout out to Hayden Christensen for no particular reason other than being amongst the coolest Canadians, a father young enough to be my son, and the one and only one I know they call the chosen one. I was like, that's feel
awesome. Good. A father young enough to be my son. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's a feel-good moment. And we kind of brought this up too. There's a ton of Star Wars actors whose birthday is this month, because we also have Matt Lautner, I want to say. Is it Lautner or Lantner?
I think it's Matt Lanter.
I'll double check this. I feel bad.
I don't know.
Clone Wars Anakin, basically. The voice actor for Clone Wars Anakin, who was also in Matt Lanter, yes. He turned 37 on April 1st.
Okay. And he still voices Anakin.
Yeah.
So actually, you know, we were talking just very briefly about. Oh, before I go into this, today of recording, April 20th, it's Andy Serkis's birthday too.
Supreme Leader.
So there you go. but we were talking about Hayden Christensen's birthday before we started recording, and I thought to myself, like, how old was Hayden Christensen when Revenge of the Sith came out?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out, when it came out, he was 24, which means that he was probably like 22, 23 when he was filming it.
Yeah. What am I doing?
Literally, I was just about to say, it makes me feel horrible about myself.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah.
That's crazy.
Very.
One more. I don't know if there's any more coming up. If there are, we'll cover it. But April 8th, day before my birthday, Katie Sackhoff, who voices Bo-Katan, turned 40.
Nice. And also happy birthday, Christian. I did tell you that on your birthday, but I realized I don't think we ever talked about it on the old podcast here.
We did not. But April, I guess, is just the Star Wars-y month. Because May, of course, we have Star Wars Day. And funny enough, Mike, May is going to be pretty big for Star Wars in general. Despite the fact that Star Wars Celebration is probably getting canceled, like...
Yeah, probably.
We do have news that May 12th, so not immediate, but very close, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, the pod racing game we talked about, is releasing.
Interesting. Where? Like on what?
So it's the like remaster, kind of, not remaster fully, but like it's HD and it looks crisp. It's coming to Switch and PS4 on May 12th, following up the recent releases of Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast.
Nice. That's good news. It's funny that you bring this up because I have like one of those emulators on my computer, and I didn't even know we were talking about this today, but I downloaded Episode 1 Pod Racer for the Game Boy to play on that emulator last night.
Interesting. Game Boy version.
Well, it's because I had that version. When I was a kid, I had the Game Boy Advance version of it. It's like very 8-bit. It's very retro. It's very fun, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's funny that you bring that up now, because I was just playing that last night.
That's very cool. I'm curious if at some point in the next couple of weeks they announce another batch of these things. Oh,
yeah. I mean, when did they announce these?
So I believe the Episode 1 Racer and Jedi Academy were announced mid-March during a Nintendo Direct.
So this was announced not so long ago then.
Yeah, so because Academy came out the day of that Direct, and then they were like, Episode 1 Racer is coming soonish at a later date, but now we know it's May 12th.
What if they're just like, yep, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 getting remastered?
If they did that, even if it was just like you can play it on PS4 and it's like more PS4-y control scheme, I would probably play that and then join in on that discussion.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jack and I have been playing it. I mean, there's no really other way to play it.
Yeah, it's the Steam version is like the way to play it right now.
Yeah, I like I said, I think on the last podcast, I have like the OG Xbox disc that I've been playing backwards compatible.
For sure.
On my one.
We've talked about Star Wars games before, and we did focus all of last week's episode pretty much on Force Unleashed. But do you think, is there anyone that like comes to mind for you immediately? I feel like I know your answer, but anyone that you would want to have this subtle up-res remaster, like it's 1080 now, it's not really new textures or anything, but like it looks clean?
I mean, like the obvious answer for me is Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
But I also really enjoyed the Episode 3 game.
Yeah, dude.
or honestly, Star Wars Jedi Starfighter.
I think Jedi Starfighter might be on PS4. I don't know if it's on other systems though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I
don't know.
also enjoyed that one as a kid. That was fun.
Yeah. So those are the three. You only asked for one, and I gave you three. Look at that.
I'll take them all, because, hey, if they announce another batch, if it's multiple, then yes, please, just give me all the old ones.
What about you? Any one in particular?
Well, I mean, because they did Jedi Academy with the multiplayer, it's Battlefront 2 with the multiplayer. Like classic Battlefront 2.
Yeah, true.
That's the one for me.
That would be the one. Honestly, they could probably do that pretty. Obviously, I was just about to say they could do it easily, and I have no idea how easy that is. It's probably not easy at all.
Well, I know there's still like servers on the Steam version that like you can play a multiplayer match of it right now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I mean, but you'd have to like upgrade the graphics and like port it to like the Switch and stuff like that.
Yeah, because with Jedi Academy, it's basically it's the same game. It's just like it's less jaggy on the models. They just smooth things out a little bit, but
yeah,
I'm hopeful.
I mean that would be pretty cool. I would definitely that would be like one of the things if they had like KOTOR like 1, KOTOR 2, like and Battlefront 2 on the Switch. That would basically that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
For you to buy one.
Will. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully at some point, maybe May 4th, maybe Star Wars Day, we get more news about something like this.
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. We'll cover it if it happens.
Oh, for sure. But regardless, there's another thing we're covering on Star Wars Day on this Star Wars podcast. Lucky for us, Star Wars Day, May 4th this year is a Monday. That's when we record.
Yeah.
So we're going to have all that hot, fresh news.
I mean, it's only two Mondays from now, right?
Yeah, it's pretty soon.
So is there anything happening that day?
There is. Recently announced this past week, we are getting Disney Gallery, The Mandalorian, an 8-episode documentary series about the making of the show with interviews from Jon Favreau, cast and crew, behind-the-scenes footage. And
that's sick.
I can't wait for this.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's awesome.
Yeah, that was the end of it because, like, I'm just very excited, and that's basically all we know about it so far, but Favreau did like give a little bit of an insight. He's like, yeah, we had a great time making the show. It's going to go into depth about the effects we use, the that new way to shoot scenery that we've talked about on the show before, and George Lucas's Star Wars special effects and his legacy. So I'm excited.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I want to see more of the I don't know, like that cool technology that they have for the scenery, like the 360 screens that they have. And
yeah, that's as someone who's like worked in like set productions before, I guess, just when every single project that Favreau does, I'm just immersed with, especially recently, because like he did The Lion King and he shot that in VR, and we talked about this before the show. That was sort of a similar thing they used in Rogue One for the space scenes, right?
Yeah.
So
you can like look through like a tablet and see, and like move it around in real time.
Yeah, like he did that for Lion King also, and then with Mandalorian, what he's doing here, and I'm sure that this method of shooting on a soundstage is going to be used for the other Disney Plus shows, even like Marvel, not just Star Wars, because it's probably cheaper.
Probably. I mean, yeah, it's phenomenal, like how realistic it can make everything look. I mean, yeah, it's just crazy to me. Have you ever seen videos of Jon Favreau like explain the technology behind it?
Yeah, I could listen to him do like 3 TED Talks about it. It's amazing.
He's just so super knowledgeable about it, and I guess like you kind of have to be if you're going to be if you're going to be on that level and like dealing with it every day. I understand that you would want to know like the ins and outs of all of it, but he really knows all of it. Like, and it's just very impressive to me.
You ever see him cook?
You know, like honestly, no. I know he has like that show and everything.
Yeah. Did you see the movie Chef that he did?
I have not. No.
Good movie. I recommend it. It's feel good, kind of. But yeah, the show's really interesting, and I think he's done a couple seasons so far. So I'm wondering if at some point we get a Mandalorian episode, because he did an episode with like Tom Holland and Gwyneth Paltrow and I think RDJ. So
yeah, I think I actually, now that I think I was with Jack in our old house when he was watching that episode. But yeah, other than that, I haven't seen much of it.
Yeah.
He should do a Mandalorian episode, and then he should take some people who do voices on the Clone Wars, since he was pre-Vizsla,
That'd be sick.
and do an episode with them.
That'd be very cool.
Like a Dave Filoni.
Yeah, because he sat down with like Feige and the Russos too, so that's like
Right.
just make it happen, Disney.
I feel like it'll happen.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, it could have already happened and I wasn't aware of it, but worth shouting out.
That's true.
But yeah, are you excited to revisit Mando in this way? Because it is 8 episodes. It's assuming it follows the track record of the other Disney Plus shows and the documentaries. It's going to be 1 a week, so we get 8 weeks of Mando behind the scenes.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering just like what the structure is going to be. I don't know if they're going to do like this is what we did differently for like each episode, you know, like because there are eight Mandalorian episodes, right? So you know, if they're going to be 8 documentary episodes, maybe they're going to like follow each episode and the making of.
Yeah, because like each episode had a thing in it, so I'm sure they could just dedicate an entire like documentary episode's worth of time to the production. So
yeah, and I mean like they go to different places to shoot and everything. There's a lot of content there,
for sure. Before we close out on Mando stuff, I gotta say I was duped today.
Oh no.
Mike, if you are aware, today is April 20th.
Yes, I am aware.
So there's the running meme of 420 every year, but I got this year because IGN tweeted out a video and they were like, this is not how we expected Mando season 2 to go. And I clicked on it and it was like a trailer, and it was like, I was like freaking out because I was like, oh my god, great that this is dropping the day we record. And I was watching it and I was like, this is like new footage, and I was like, something feels off though. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, he's saying stuff of like, I thought this was going to work out. It's not going to, something like that. And he goes like downstairs in the Razor Crest, and it's somebody in like a Baby Yoda mask smoking, and he's like flipping off Mando, and he's like, you're not my dad. And then I was like, guys, I get that it's 420 today, but this is an April Fool's video, not a mid-April video.
Honestly, though, April Fool's was canceled.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
So, like, who celebrated April Fool's Day this year? Like, no one.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty sure. So, I mean, you know, it's the whole month is just, it's fair game.
Yeah, existence right now is a joke, so.
Exactly.
That's
right.
what we're
I mean,
with.
Plus it's 420 all month, if you think about it.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah. So, you know, if you missed it, you still have a few more days.
You want to keep talking about burning? Because we got a fan theory.
Let's talk about these burning fan theories.
Funny enough, the fan theory is actually about things that burn, specifically Anakin Skywalker. So there's a fan theory that's kind of, honestly, it's just kind of fun. So I thought I'd bring it up and see what you think about it. On the Star Wars speculation subreddit, user Big Spicy Meat Boy
Nice.
Brought to attention that the fact that Rise of Skywalker has a duel between Kylo Ren and Rey, and it takes place on one of, I forget the planet, but the water area.
Like that moon of Endor, like with the Death Star?
Yes. So they basically were drawing comparisons to that duel with the waves and the rain and the water to Anakin and Obi-Wan's duel on Mustafar with the lava everywhere. And we're basically doing like literature teacher comparisons of like the water, the cool tones. It's about like life and Ben being risen from the dark side, and then Anakin just burning in hatred and rage and falling. And it rhymes, basically.
I mean, I guess I never thought of it that way, but it seems like obvious in a way, right? Like I didn't ever consider like like literally fire and like literally water, like
Yeah.
the two opposite ends of the spectrum, basically
Mhm.
like anchoring each end of the Star Wars Skywalker saga.
Yeah,
um yeah, I guess it rhymes. It's like poetry.
it does.
It makes sense, and I never thought of it that way. Though I question, like, is I guess life is the theme of the Episode 9 duel on the Death Star. Um,
Yeah, because she force heals him, at the end of
right.
it.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking through it right now.
Yeah. Anakin.
Yeah.
So, where do you fall on the? I don't remember this. Where do you fall on the whole like when Anakin died? Is it when he was burning, or is it when he knelt to Palpatine? Like, where do you fall on that?
Oh, when he knelt to Palpatine.
Okay, I do too. I was just wondering.
Yeah, I think like Anakin's, I mean, obviously Anakin's like physical form died on Mustafar, but
Mhm.
Anakin Skywalker, as we know, never really died.
Yes.
But he was ostensibly dead for a while. But yeah, I would consider when he knelt and pledged himself to Palpatine. That's when Anakin died.
Yeah, I think there's like a little wiggle room, and like I think when for me actually like the more specific moment is when he choked Padme. Because like
Interesting.
He's still like you can see when he's kneeling, he has like some reluctance. He's like, "What have I done? What do you need me to do? Just I don't know what to do, man." And then he's doing it for Padme, and then when he loses sight of that and like chokes her out, it's like, "All right, dude, yeah, you're gone."
Yeah, I think that you're right. I feel like that's probably the moment where he completely slipped away.
Yeah,
because
not
you
the
don't
moment
really
when
ever
he killed the child, but
No, I mean, but the thing is though, like in a way, like he gets all burnt up. Like Obi-Wan cuts his legs off, like R.I.P. and like he burns up in the lava, and Emperor Palpatine comes and saves him, puts the Darth Vader costume on him, and the first thing that he asks is, "Where's Padme?" And he gets all upset about it, right? So, like, did he actually, like I don't know, saying that he like completely died when he choked out Padme, then like a day later he's like in his new suit and he's all sad that Padme is dead. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I thought it was a cool comparison because sometimes people are like, oh, cinematic parallels, and it's like you're reaching, dude. It's like this one I buy. So
yeah, that I buy it. I mean, it's just I think it's probably what they're trying to go for.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, what do you think the Vader versus Luke on the second Death Star duel? Then what is that? Is that like Earth? If we're going on the Avatar,
the green
Avatar
lightsaber
elements.
makes it Earth, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah. Right.
And air is, of course, they fly now.
They fly now.
Yeah, they fly now.
They fly now.
One last bit of news, tiny bit of news. It's about the Cassian Andor show. We have some casting. We now know that Kyle Soller, who is most prolifically, I think, a voice actor. He was in Fury, that Brad Pitt tank movie.
Okay, I'm not really sure who he is. We were talking about him a little bit before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really entirely positive of really either of these people who are casted are, to be honest.
The other one, of course, is Stellan Skarsgård, who you may know as Dr. What's his name? He's in he's the older man, the older gentleman in the Thor films, and he's the scientist in the Marvel universe that basically predicted what was going to happen with everything.
You can't ask me about Marvel, dude.
I know.
I'm sorry. Dr. Eric Selvig.
Selvig, thank you. Of course, that is. I'm ashamed of myself.
Yeah. He was also in Chernobyl.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's how you know him.
Yeah. I guess looking at him, he seems familiar to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chernobyl is like other than like the main character, like they're just a bunch of bureaucrats essentially. So it's hard to keep track of who's who. Have you seen that?
Not yet. I'm planning on it. Especially now that I know that writer's doing Last of Us, I'm planning on it.
Oh, he was Bill Anderson in Mamma Mia. Okay. Yeah, I know who this guy is.
Yeah,
I know
so
who this guy is.
he's in Cassian now. I don't know if he's gonna break down a dance or a musical number, but he's there.
One can dream. A boy can dream.
Absolutely. The Kyle Solar pick, though, considering he's done a lot of VO for video games, makes me wonder if maybe he's tapped to be an alien, perhaps.
Yeah, like an alien or a droid or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. So we'll see how it shakes out. But Cassian, honestly, we're getting more Cassian news than I was expecting, especially all things considered.
Yeah, well, it's next, you know?
Yeah.
They're probably thinking about it. It's probably on the forefront.
I wonder what a Zoom audition is like.
I have no idea.
With that, though, I think it's time we dip into the main topic for this week's episode. Clone Wars Season 7 so far.
Yeah.
Do you want to save the final episode for a little bit after the rest of the episodes?
Yeah, I think we could probably split it.
Okay.
That one is a little juicier, I think.
Mm-hmm. So, with this show, this acclaimed show, last week we kicked off with episode 1.
We did, yeah, and I didn't watch the entire thing, but I have watched it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I watched all 9 episodes right now.
Yep.
There are 9. Do you want to talk about the first arc, I guess?
Sure. The Bad Batch arc I enjoyed, honestly. I thought it started a little slow, but I liked it.
You sent me a really funny meme, I think.
Yes, created by me. That's a Christian Buckley original.
That was pretty funny. Can you explain the meme for the viewers and the listeners and the significance behind it?
Sure. So there's obviously the meme template of Pam from The Office. She's holding up the 2 pictures, and she says, "Corporate needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture." Cut to her in the interview camera saying, "It's the same picture." So on the left, I did a squad shot of the Bad Batch, and on the right, it was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It's literally so true.
Right? Like, tell me I'm wrong.
It's so fun. No, you're not wrong whatsoever. It's so funny. But man, they're cool actually. Like they're pretty cool and bad to the bone.
Yeah. I like them. So, like, that's a new thing, right? That wasn't teased in any of the episodes we watched. I don't remember that at all.
I don't remember this whatsoever. So,
yeah,
I think it's a new thing.
I like that concept, because it kind of separates them from the clones. And, like, I like the idea of having a specific platoon of clones that we could revisit in the future,
Yep.
And obviously because of Order 66, we don't really have many options. So I think, like, if what I'm assuming happens with a certain clone that we're aware of, I don't want to spoil what's happening, but, like, if that person was able to abstain, then I'm assuming they might want to do the same with the Bad Batch and, like, maybe revisit them down the line.
Yeah, I guess it makes me wonder, like, they're all deformed, right? Like, technically, they're not really, but, like, they're not complete clones of Jango Fett. So,
yeah, I forget how they explained it, but it was basically they weren't up
they're
to
like mutated.
Standard.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I really like that their platoon name is 99 after the legend. 99.
I'm not sure if I follow.
So you know how, like, Rex is the 501st?
Yeah.
They are 99. And remember there was the other clone, the old man, 99 from back in the day?
Oh, the one that was, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The first of the Bad Batch.
Interesting. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, if they have, like, I'm looking at their Wikipedia page, and apparently it's specially designed genetic mutations is the reasoning.
Huh, interesting. Well, I guess that would make sense.
Yeah, yeah. Because I guess like the quote at the top is Cody says that they're defective clones with desirable mutations.
Okay.
So it makes me wonder, like, I wonder if like their inhibitor chips work.
Yeah.
If they're mutated, I guess that doesn't have to do anything with your genetics since it's implanted.
Yeah, that is interesting. I feel like with their unique abilities, it screams we could make a cool video game about them.
Yeah, I think you might be right. What do you think about like the actual plot of this arc?
So, I think it like the on paper, the story they're telling here was necessary. Because I think it, especially after the Krell arc, I think where we saw Rex sort of have some agency in that regard because of how Anakin treated him. With this giving Rex like sort of a fleshed out empathy, I guess, and like strong emotional tie to Echo, I think was kind of necessary for where that character goes.
Mm-hmm. Or you're saying necessary for where Echo's character goes?
No, for where
for Rex.
Rex.
I see. Yeah, I mean, the whole mission that they go on was basically Rex's idea, and Anakin was skeptical of it, and like begrudgingly came along. But yeah, it's cool to see. It's also cool to see Wat Tambor.
Yeah, your Techno Union guys.
Yeah, I love the Techno Union. So I'm happy to see that they got fleshed out a little bit because I feel like that's the first time we've ever seen it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree with you on the whole Rex point. It was also nice to see him be vindicated, especially since like, we recently watched that arc where Fives is like onto Chancellor Palpatine with the whole inhibitor chip thing, and nobody listens to him.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like kind of the opposite of that. Rex has like this wacky theory and like basically goes on this like covert mission and ends up being right.
Yeah, I think from a like I guess narrative structure perspective, I think it's cool. Like I like stories like that, like we're doing this one off the books, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's cool seeing Rex follow Anakin in that way, because with the Krell thing, it was him standing up for himself more than other clones have, and then here it is really him driving it, and it's cool to see Anakin support that.
Mm-hmm.
And all the stuff with him working with the Bad Batch, like all the action I thought was cool. Again, like we said last week, step up with animation quality again.
Yeah.
And
hair
physics, yeah. And then the stuff with Echo at the end of it, I thought was like crazy.
Yeah, it was really a twist, to be honest. Gives a whole new meaning to the word to his name.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's crazy. Because that, again, it's like Star Wars sort of taking something we've seen before and making a Star Wars-y version of it, right? Like, I can't tell you specific examples because there's just so many of... It's like, oh, we adapted this person's intelligence to be an AI. Like, no, it's actually the guy in there with cables in his head, and we had to, like, unprogram him to get him out.
I know, and it's funny, like, as a viewer, like, up until that point, you're like, oh, like, you kind of feel bad for Rex, because you're like, there's no way that this guy's still alive.
Yeah.
Like, they must have found, a way to, like, take his mind and, like, use that somehow, but detach it from his physical body, but nope.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, you ever play Fallout New Vegas?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna make a joke about Mr. House, but whatever.
I'm sure the people who have listened though are like that was a good call, Mike.
Yeah, so if you're out there, you're welcome. Um, but
Did
yeah,
you watch Winter Soldier?
yeah.
The Hydra scientist. That's the vibe I was getting when we were like opening that door. I'm like, oh, is his brain a computer now? Um,
Oh, yeah, true. I mean that. Well, I mean, Wat Tambor literally says like your friend's dead, you know,
yeah.
and that's made me think like, oh yeah, they're probably just using his brain or like extracted his memory in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
And it is nice because last week we talked about how Domino Squad was all dead, but there is still one member left in Echo. Who would have
and
thunk
now
it?
he's part of the Bad Batch. What do you think of that?
I think that's interesting. Kind of.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool to see him live on because he's sort of like, along with Rex and Ahsoka, I feel like one of the Clone Wars things, you know? Because he stands in for what you and I were excited about when we had like the Rookies episode of like, oh, it's cool seeing the clones live in this sort of war. And he's like the last sort of remnant of that.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It is nice to see that there is a survivor of Domino Squad.
Yeah,
and it just only adds to the whole clones have their own they're human and they're human like
yeah.
and they have their own desires and their own wants and Echo, after spending many years being tortured by Wat Tambor, chooses his own path and his own destiny, and I think that's a good message.
Absolutely, and I hope that's not the last we see of the Bad Batch.
I doubt it will be.
Oh baby. You want to get into the next arc?
Sure.
So this next one is we pick up with Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell how soon after her departure from season 5 this is. I'm assuming it's pretty close because when we see her again after this arc, she does look older again.
Yeah.
So it's her. She crashes onto Coruscant level 1313, which fun.
That was pretty cool.
To meet Trace, a mechanic of the underbelly of Coruscant.
Trace Martez.
Trace Martez, thank you for the last name. Who is basically one half of a duo, her and her sister, Rafe.
Yeah.
I watched it like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Let me double check.
Yeah.
But basically, it's honestly, more than the Bad Batch one, this felt like it was a genuine movie of like four episodes of just going through this story of Ahsoka helping these sisters and like sort of coming to terms with what it means to be away from the Jedi Order.
Yeah, her name's Rafa, by the way.
Rafa, I was close.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Thank you.
But yeah, I agree. To be quite honest with you, I wasn't like super into this arc. I thought it was kind of boring.
Okay.
But I think on some level it was cool to see, how does like the everyday citizen of the Star Wars galaxy view the Jedi?
Yeah.
And I guess the Martez sisters may be a little biased in their, in their analysis of the Jedi, but like, I don't know. I'm sure. I think the whole episode was kind of made to show that point that not everybody think that the Jedi are like peacekeepers, and it only makes like Palpatine saying that the Jedi were plotting to take over in Episode 3 more believable. That like people would go behind that, like the regular everyday citizens of the galaxy would get behind a theory like that.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it that way, but you're totally right.
Yeah.
I liked. I will say I liked seeing the Pike and that whole thing, just based on this sort of seeds of the underworld that we've seen in stuff like Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Going to Kessel was interesting.
It seemed unnecessary to me.
Yeah, like when we pulled up to Kessel, I was like, so like, what, are we just trying to do the run? What's happening? And it's like, oh no, there's mines here. I remember that.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess like they weren't there for that long. They just got the spice and then left.
yeah. But yeah, like I think overall, just I think if you just took a step back and didn't think of it as like, because I know people weren't really happy with this arc on social media as it was happening. Um,
Right.
I think devoid of the fact that it is the final season, I think it's like a pretty good arc. Like I think there's a complete story that gets told here that feels necessary for Ahsoka's character.
Sure. Yeah, I think it was a little underwhelming, given like there are so few episodes of the Clone Wars
Yeah,
left, right?
and
And
I
like
get that.
we got this like seemed out of place, like. But I guess the point was to build Ahsoka's character a little bit more before we got into the final, few episodes of this series.
Hmm.
Because you're running out of opportunity to really like focus on this character. That's she's only in the Clone Wars, so
Yeah,
yeah. I think like really, I think it would have worked better in like an earlier season maybe.
yeah. If this
But
was a season 6 thing, I feel like people would have loved it.
yeah. I didn't hate it. It just seemed like slow. It's definitely out of this in the Bad Batch. It's the least. It's the one I enjoy the least.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the Bad Batch arc, it didn't feel like there was much downtime. Um, but like I feel like this didn't need to be 4 episodes. They could have cut one or like combined two of them. Like the second time they got put in the prison cell, I was like, okay,
I
do we
was
have to be
literally
here
about to
again?
say that. I was literally about to say like, how many times are they gonna get captured?
Yeah, I was like, you'd
Like,
be dead by now.
yeah, like I don't know. It seemed like they were just trying to kill time.
Yeah,
Which is I don't know if you agree with that, but
I see it. I get it. I do think for Ahsoka's sake, it was like not necessary, but it felt like it was needed to an extent to sort of bridge the gap further. Um, and as far as the sisters go, like I thought their dynamic was fine, and it was like this is a story again, something I've seen in other mediums or other genres, but like telling it in Star Wars, I do think it paints an interesting picture for like what you were saying of like the everyday person in this galaxy.
Right. Yeah, I think that's what I took away from it the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like also just Ahsoka dealing with that
Yeah.
and coming to terms with the fact that she's lived a very sheltered life,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't know the plight of the working class.
Yeah, they got
Not,
nice up at Skywalker Academy.
yeah, I mean, I'm like I don't know. I saw some very heavy class undertones in this,
For sure, yeah.
which is like kind of cool to see in a Star Wars. For a TV show for kids.
Absolutely, yeah. Uh, Also, the last thing I wanted to ask you about this arc, when they were talking about how their parents died, was the Jedi. I was trying to think if like we saw this, and I think we did. I remember Zero escaping. Um, was Luminara the Jedi they were talking about?
That's what I think. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like look online to confirm that, but
Yeah.
yeah, they said it was like I think she was like, oh, like piercing eyes and like dark robes and green skin, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that sounds like Luminara and Dilly to me. Like, so yeah.
Um. So yeah, between the two, do you prefer Bad Batch, like you said?
I do prefer Bad Batch. I think both of them are fine. I think Bad Batch is better in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm
What about
mostly
you?
on the same page. Like I really liked all the Ahsoka stuff in the second arc, but yeah, I'm overall I think Bad Batch was stronger.
I think
Uh,
people were giving it we're being a little bit too negative, online
for which,
for the Ahsoka arc.
oh yeah, because I saw people being like, really, we're doing another week with them. I was like, we get something. We're getting places because Mike.
Yeah,
Episode 9.
we certainly get places.
So, episode 9, first off, Uh, we have a good Star Wars Episode 9 now.
Yeah, we do.
But Mike, they made another Star Wars movie. That's what this is.
Oh no, they seriously made another Star Wars movie, and like I have to say, really all I have to say about this episode is they absolutely just did it to us.
They did.
They really just did it to us.
Another step up for animation, I think.
Yeah, it looked better than the rest of it.
Like that shot, that opening sequence on the bridge, and like Anakin standing there, I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
this looks
beautiful.
insane.
It's beautiful, dude. It's so perfect. Like, it really is just so freaking perfect.
First off, though, when I queued up this episode, right, and then I didn't get like. And it was like the fade into the Lucasfilm Limited Presents. I was like, "Oh my god, what's happening? What are we doing right now?"
The old school Lucasfilm logo.
Yes, that was something. And then the classic Star Wars theme with a red Clone Wars logo. I was like, "Dear God, what are you doing to me?"
Yeah, like I didn't consider it like the way that you said, but it's another movie. Like
it absolutely. I was gonna say they made the 10th Star Wars movie, but they kind of already did with the other Clone Wars one. But like, this is like the 10th Star Wars movie.
It really is. It's where do we even begin? Like, it starts off on some like nothing planet, but it was awesome.
Yeah. So there's 3 episodes left. I think we're absolutely going to be getting some recreation of the third act of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, we must.
Yeah,
wait, so there's 3 episodes after this. There are 4 parts to this, right?
Yes, and we watched part 1 this week.
Yeah, so there are 3 left. Okay.
Like, am I crazy in thinking that? Like, I feel we've been talking about it a little bit. Like, I don't think we're probably gonna get like a full blown recreation of like Anakin versus Obi-Wan or something. And I know the Siege of Mandalore takes place around Order 66, right? Like, there's overlap.
I think there is overlap. Yeah.
So, like, I feel like we're gonna, because I could totally see where people are coming from, saying like, yeah, so Revenge of the Sith happens, you got the movie, that's Anakin's thing, and this is what Ahsoka was doing, this is the Mandalore stuff, that's what this is. But I do think there's a chance we might get some Anakin Obi-Wan conflict.
I think the Siege of Mandalore proper will end much earlier than some people think it will. Like,
so you think in this week?
I think it might. Like, I think it might end like this week or next week, and the rest of it's like more of like an epilogue.
Okay.
Focusing obviously, I think, around Ahsoka.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
But I don't see how you have the end of the Clone Wars without having some sort of like resolution with Anakin and Obi-Wan as well.
Yeah, I feel, because this interpretation of those characters, I feel like, is so, for some people, I feel like it's stronger than Hayden and Ewan, you know?
Yeah, I think it might be.
So, like, having the opportunity to have that closure and then not going for it, I just don't know if it's something they do.
They may just, like, want to just keep it, like, we may have seen the end of Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Like, it's one or the other, really. Like,
yeah, and I don't know
either we don't. No, I don't either. Either we see them again, or like that's it. Like,
yeah, and honestly, I kind of like if we, like, as cool as it would be, I'd kind of like if we don't.
I almost would prefer that.
Yeah. Because,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, because the focus, like, the biggest takeaway I think from the Clone Wars is Ahsoka, and like seeing this, basically giving her a film. I feel like jumping to like, oh, and now Obi-Wan and Anakin are on Mustafar, it would be strange and feel out of place almost. You know?
Yeah. I just don't know how they're gonna do like Order 66 without sort of giving it like more context, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we know like Order 66 like overlaps with this
Mm-hmm.
at some point, but like how is that going to be visually like displayed to the audience? Like is Ahsoka just gonna like get a feeling, right? And then like we're supposed to just infer that like Order 66 is happening, like, or are we gonna like get a montage of like oh like this is Plo Koon on Cato Nemoidia, and like
Mm-hmm. Well,
you know Anakin Skywalker is on Mustafar like slicing up Wat Tambor and stuff.
yeah, because we got that at the start of the episode. We see Aayla Secura with her squad on Felucia, and we see what you said about Plo Koon. He's like deployed in his starfighter,
Yeah, right.
so it feels like it would be any moment, you know?
Yeah, which is why like you know they already showed that. So are we gonna go back to it at all?
Well, the way I'm thinking of it, and what I'm almost expecting, I guess, is that Rex gets the message from Palpatine, and he's like, you know what? We're with Ahsoka right now. We're not really with the Jedi or you. So
yeah, that's probably what happens.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, I'm sure that, like, you know, there got to be some clones on Mandalore that do follow that order.
Yeah.
And try to, you know, kill Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm. Before we continue with the speculation, though, the rest of the episode, the battle on the bridge at the start of it all, I was like smiling the whole time, and I think it was because I was riding off that high of like, oh, we're doing new presentation for this episode with this introduction.
Yeah.
But seeing Anakin, I think for the first time so far, really have that like episode 3 cocky Anakin, like more so than other times we've seen it.
Yeah, for sure.
That just made me so happy, and like seeing him do the fake surrender and stuff, and the R2 moment, like this episode felt so Star Warsy in a way that Clone Wars, I feel like, hasn't always hit, but it still feels like it's Star Wars, you know what I mean?
It literally made me feel like, I don't know, man, it made me feel some type of way. It really did.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to describe. It makes me just think of episode 3 and like the hype behind episode 3, and like it just felt so real, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's anything to say about like the quality of the rest of the show that we've talked about so far, because we both clearly love it. But
yeah,
this does just feel like it's elevating it to a place that it absolutely deserves when we like look back at the Skywalker saga, I guess.
It has its own like very important place in the Skywalker saga now.
Yes.
Like I think like before this, the Clone Wars was skippable, you know? Like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I guess like in a way like it still is, but you're missing like a lot of nuance and a lot of context without watching like even just this one episode. Like
yeah. I really like. I was trying to think of this earlier because I was wondering after I finished the episode what it would have been like if we didn't decide to do this for the show and I just started season 7 when I started it. I don't know if I would have kept with it until I heard about the Siege of Mandalore arc, you know? Like if I had no attachment to these takes on these characters since when we start like February, like I think you put it almost perfectly. Like it was skippable, or like you could say it to a Star Wars fan and be like, I don't really want to watch it. It's like a kid's show. But the number of people I texted after I watched this episode, I was like, guys, you gotta watch Clone Wars now. Like I'm telling you, you gotta. Like don't just hop on because of what you're seeing online. Like at least follow this guide that Jack gave us, because like it's gonna pay off and it's gonna be worth it.
It really yeah, I think I'm gonna stick by what I said earlier. Like, it was skippable, and now like you still can skip it, but like you're just missing a lot. Like
Yeah.
you're missing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk about the part that blew my mind the most.
What's your...
Was they get that message from Fulcrum,
Yeah.
which you haven't seen Rebels, but that's like that's what Ahsoka goes by on Rebels,
That's sick.
which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, Anakin mentioned Saw Gerrera when they brought up Fulcrum.
Right. Yeah.
Which was cool.
Which is pretty cool. Not Saw Gerrera. It's Bo-Katan and Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that reunion between Anakin and Ahsoka. What do you think about that?
I think it showed a lot of growth for Ahsoka just because of like the level-headedness that she had for it. And it is funny when they actually do reunite in person, and she has that line of like, "You haven't changed at all, either of you." It really did make it feel like there was a significant time gap between the arc we just watched with her and this episode. I guess to further say that point, I was totally expecting her to say R2 when she jumped off that ship, and she didn't. And I was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I guess she's really grown up now.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I thought it was really touching and really sweet. Hit me right in the feels. Yeah. It makes me think, like, between the arc that we just watched with Ahsoka and this, I don't think that there's that much time in between, because right at the end of the arc that we watched with the Martez sisters, Bo-Katan shows up and she's like, we gotta go like now.
That's true.
So it makes me think that that's pretty close in time. But the whole timing thing that makes me think about timing is, how long has it been between, Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order and this? Yeah. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, because honestly, it does feel like when we pick up with her in that previous arc, to me, it felt really soon after. Because she's still on Coruscant and she's like driving away from the city. It's like,
yeah,
like take a week off, buy a bike, and now you're heading out. Like, is that what happened?
I don't know if we're just looking into it too much, but
maybe, I don't know, but yeah, the moment that really got me the most, I think, was when, like, the moment when she saw Rex again and like they had the three of them have their whole conversation. I really like that moment.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The whole that like division of the 501st all paints their helmet.
Yeah.
Like her face.
Yeah. Also, she gets the lightsabers back, and Anakin's like, "Oh, I made them better. Another blue." That's a good moment.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, really good episode. Great episode.
We need to talk about how, literally that whole interaction between Anakin and Ahsoka in person takes place like no shit, or takes place an hour before the events of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy.
I was texting Jack Martin. I said, I'll never watch Revenge of the Sith the same way.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Yeah, dude. It's insane because especially because I'm having that context. I'm really curious to see what they do to sort of punctuate the fact that in all of Revenge of the Sith, Ahsoka's not brought up once. Like, there has to be like something. Like, does he think she dies? I don't know. Like, I just don't know how they're gonna tie it together.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like he doesn't mention her because he just recently saw her and like feels better about the situation, right? Because he knows where she is and he knows like what's going on,
Yeah.
Like before then, he was probably just like, well, yep, she's gone forever. Like, who knows if I'll ever see her again?
Mm-hmm.
And if it continued that way, it would be weird. Like, why isn't he bringing her up? But
Yeah.
He knows that she's on Mandalore doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think the way they end that scene of the two of them, it does feel like that's the last time they see each other. Just because like he had that extra moment looking back.
Yeah, there is something in canon. I can't remember if it's Rebels or if I can't remember if it's the book Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
But she does say that the last time she saw Anakin was he was running off to save the Chancellor.
Oh, then yeah.
So,
damn. Well, regardless, I'm still really interested to see like the way they do tie it together, because like you said, by the end of this episode and probably by the end of wrapping up the Maul conflict, Anakin is going to be on Grievous's ship, like we're going to be moving.
I want to see that.
Yeah,
like
they had that. I feel like we have to, because they have that render of Grievous and they used it for a frame.
Right. Yeah.
Like they fully redid Grievous.
They fully redid Grievous on his ship. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
So also another thing I noticed, and I think similar to what we were talking about with the Bad Batch arc and the Sisters arc, of like they feel more like movies, but this one feels like a movie. They're giving time to do Star Wars in action, I think. And what I mean by that is like the number of times that Clone Wars so far has done like, we need to go here, wipe, okay, now we're here, and we're having the conversation we need to have. Like, we're seeing more than I think any other time in this show, the downtime of ship leaving the atmosphere of planet, going into the cruiser, landing in the hangar, like having those more slow moments of Star Wars, because they don't feel like they have to cut out that stuff to make it fit on a TV episode,
Yeah, they could take their time with it a little bit more.
Yeah, because if we have 4 episodes of this, like we can hit the story we have to. That's why I feel like it was kind of a movie that they're just splitting up into the 4 episodes,
Yeah, I think it's going to end up feeling that way after all 4 of these episodes are done. I'm just excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, like, I don't know if you want to talk just a little bit about like the actual beginning of the siege, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean the Republic invades Mandalore essentially.
Yeah. That was like maybe one of the best moments in the show, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
just like seeing Ahsoka be the Jedi, and like having the actual, for the first time, I think so far, the full Star Wars like themes, like the musically, just having all of that there while she's doing this, it was like, again, it made it really feel like it is the 10th Star Wars movie.
Yeah, she's like really coming to her own.
Mm-hmm.
And just that whole sequence of her like jumping from ship to ship, like down to the dock or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so cool, man. Like she jumps from that Republic transport and like uses her lightsabers to like slow her down.
Yeah.
As she like hits the ground. It's so cool.
100%.
Yeah. I don't know.
It really is just great, I think. And seeing the siege go through, like seeing Bo-Katan fight, it's the blonde, like every time there's a blonde Mandalorian commander, I don't remember their names. What's the guy? The Prime Minister?
Almec?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like seeing her storm the throne room and fighting him, that was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So do you think we're going to see, this is kind of just jumping to the end, but there's not much left, but do you think we're going to see Darth Maul versus Ahsoka next episode?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Unless they do tee it up to be like, we're getting both perspectives of the Anakin Obi-Wan stuff and the Ahsoka stuff. if it is that, I think next episode might be predominantly about them. And then the final two end up cutting back and forth a bit. I could see that if that's the avenue they go, but if it is really just focused on Ahsoka, then yeah, I think next episode we just kick things off with them fighting.
Yeah, I would be fine if they just like recreated Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, man. I mean, it would be shorter for sure, but like, yeah,
we don't need it to be that long. You know,
no.
like
just hit the big moments. We don't need to see Obi-Wan kill Grievous again. You know.
No, yeah, we don't. Though it seems like it would make sense to show.
Yeah, it would. I could see them cut some things out and make it all fit. But I want to ask you, because I think you might be onto something with the siege being shorter than people think. Like, what besides fighting Maul, what more is there to do? I think that we did it. You know, like they have the Prime Minister under their control right now. Is it going to be like ground level, the civilians, the Mandalore people not being cool with Death Watch coming back? Like what
so
else is
like
there?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like I don't know how in depth you want me to go, because like I do feel like I already spoiled a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the novel Ahsoka and like the novel Ahsoka kind of explains a lot.
Okay.
About like what happens
Mm-hmm.
on Mandalore, and I don't know if you want me to like go into it.
Does it seem like it's carrying over from the novel so far?
I didn't read the novel, but
Okay.
I'm familiar with what happens in the novel,
Mm-hmm.
and like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like it just doesn't seem like there's much left.
Yeah, that's what the vibe I was getting. So like maybe what we talked about earlier with Order 66, that's what's the rest of it. Maybe like that goes down, and then there's like a division of the 501st again, and like
I don't know. I think I like. I don't know. Like the whole point of them going to Mandalore in the first place is to capture Maul, right?
yeah.
So like, you know, Ahsoka's already found him.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Like you said, what else is there to do?
Yeah.
They have a big battle, and like she either, you know, captures him or not. I don't know.
Yeah, and
Well,
if you've been following along with us and you watched Solo, spoiler alert, I don't think she captures him.
Yeah.
Like he's still kicking, he's still doing shady underworld stuff in Solo, so
he definitely doesn't die.
yeah.
Like I said, the book Ahsoka does divulge a lot of what happens, but I guess I just won't talk about it.
Yeah, so I guess if that's the case, like if we're covering canon again, just adapting it for the show, maybe Revenge of the Sith is not out of the question.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So, overall though, I've seen people saying it's the best episode of the Clone Wars. Are you ready to weigh in on that or no?
No. It's definitely up there though.
Yeah, I think presentation-wise, insane, but like probably the most cinematic episode so far, I think.
Probably. Yeah. You know what? It's the best one.
Yeah, sure. And like looking back, we're probably gonna have this discussion more in depth once the season finishes. But like seeing this, the way they present it, then looking back to the movie that started it all, like it's just come so far.
Yeah, it really has. It's wonderful.
It really is. It is acclaimed.
There's a new meaning to that now.
For sure. But unless you have any other final thoughts on this episode or hopes for next week, which we kind of touched on a little bit.
I guess hopes for next week. I just want to see... I do want to see more Anakin Obi-Wan. I want to see Revenge of the Sith. I'll say it. I'll say it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what I want to see.
I think for next week, my biggest wish is... Because I'm sure the Ahsoka Maul fight is going to be amazing, but I really want to see Rex react to Order 66. Like I've been waiting for that to be a thing since like season 2.
Yeah.
So
I think we're gonna see it.
Yeah, I think we are.
At some point. May not be next episode, but
yeah, could be episode 3. But I think that's gonna do it for this week's episode.
I think so. Yeah.
If there's anything you want to shout out, Mike, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Mike P. Connors.
Very nice. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, it's at Chris N. Buckley. This show is available on multiple outlets. YouTube.com/JoeyClicks is where you can go to see every episode of the show and our faces on the video version. But audio versions are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever other option there is, odds are it's there. And if you can rate or review us on that platform, it would be greatly appreciated.
Definitely do it.
And we would like you for it, you know?
We like you anyway, but
Yeah.
we'd like you even more if we did that.
For sure. But yeah, I think that wraps up everything. Mike, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm excited to watch an episode the day it comes out live, finally.
I know, it's like I feel like really late to the party, but better late than never.
Yeah, especially like now that we're here and it's this, it feels right.
For sure. I'm really excited. Like I didn't expect me to get like this excited about a TV show like this, and
yeah, same.
So yeah.
I guess final question: do you think you're gonna watch it like the second it's available, like 3 a.m. our time, or are you gonna wait until like Friday night or something?
I'll probably just wait till Friday night to watch it.
I'm gonna try to as well. I'm gonna try to stay off Twitter, but can't wait.
Yeah, it might be one of those things you just wake up on Friday and you just watch it instead.
Yeah, could be
in the morning.
But that's gonna do it. As always, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
May the Force be with you.
General Kenobi.